So I recently just binged all of Dexter in the span of like 2 weeks, which I now realize is absolutely disgusting. I have problems for sure. But it's because the show is absolutely peak, okay? Well, I mean, to a certain extent, okay? Now, hear me out. Don't get mad. This show is honestly so good. It's had a fantastic run, and it's full of enjoyable twists and surprises, especially full of killing. And, you know, it honestly really makes me wonder what is wrong with me, to, like, you know, like, us to be rooting for a serial killer throughout an entire run. Crazy. My point is that this show kind of really took a downhill direction, and basically in this video I just want to point out exactly where that happened. Now I think it's only fair that before we find out the day that this show died is to kind of understand what made this show good in the first place, so then we can pinpoint that exact moment. Because oh my lord, this show was so captivating in the beginning. Like I couldn't stop watching. I was literally sitting at work and I was just binging it. It was crazy. So now let's go over what made this show so special. So basically, Dexter was amazing because it took such a unique approach to the crime and thriller genre. And instead of following a detective, it like centered around a serial killer, which was really new for the time. And I think this came out like, what, 2007? But we focused on a serial killer who abided by his own moral code, which was only killing those who deserve it. And it was interesting because we saw Dexter as an anti-hero, and the show made audiences root for him, which is wild and was super risky for the time, like I said. And Dexter Morgan was just complex. He was both a monster that we wanted to see succeed, and he was just also a man trying to fit in normal day society while hiding these things about him. And it was also super interesting at the time with the narration and his inner conflict, and like the use of his internal monologue gave us insight into his struggle between his dark passenger,
my dark passenger,
in his attempts to maintain a normal life. And what was super cool about this is how it added depth and a psychological layer that just kept us as viewers engaged. It also had such compelling villains. Like within each season there was something that just drew you to every villain, and it was kind of crazy. They each had their own standout like moments, like the ice truck killer, the Bay Harbor butcher, you know, kind of being Dexter himself, who if spoiler alert, was Dokes? Not Dokes, Dexter. Anyways, but in my opinion, none of these guys really compared to Trinity, which was, oh my god, he was such a standout. Ugh. What also made the show stand out was just the moral gray area that kind of gave us as an audience for, you know, being invested in Dexter, which is really crazy to be invested in a serial killer, I gotta say. But it really made us question what was right and wrong. Like, Dexter was a killer, but it was only because his victims were criminals, and like, it just, a part of you felt just like justified in supporting them. I don't know, it's really weird. But one of the best parts about this show, I'd say, especially for the time, was just the slow burn and suspense. And unlike many crime dramas at the time, Dexter didn't rely on constant action, but instead built tension through character development, investigation, and like a fear of discovery, and especially when people were discovering who he was truly, and we all know how that turned out. Now, I think all of this, like what I just said, basically leads into the absolute peakness of what was season 4 of Dexter. And if you haven't seen the show in a while or at all, first of all, I don't know why you're watching this video, but it led to the Trinity Killer, which was fantastic. Why am I grabbing my boob? Everything about the show was done so well here. The sneaking around Rita whilst having his new child, Dexter struggling to not have his apartment, all while doing his job and following Trinity, which was so good. The side stories were also super engaging in this season, with Joey and like the twist of his reporter girlfriend being the daughter of Trinity, which I was not expecting until like they were kind of leading up to it. Then we also have Deb's arc, which was interesting this season with Lundy. Again, that relationship was weird. I don't want to get into that. That's a whole different thing.
Oh my god! Get out!
But this arc also transitions to her own side story of finding out about Harry's CIs, which then leads to her learning about the truth of Dexter and his brother Brian, aka the Ice Truck Killer. There was just so much going on this season, and it felt like everything connected in such a satisfying way. I don't know how to explain it, but it was just, oh man, if you haven't seen season 4 of Dexter, go watch it. It's actually great. But all of this was leading to what I believe is probably the best episode in the series, which is season 4, episode 12. What is the title of that again? The Getaway. Oh my god, this episode was so good, bro. But coincidentally, with this being the best episode, I think this is actually where the show peaked and the day the show died. Now, massive spoilers from here on out, but this is the episode where Rita unfortunately died, and after that, the show just really did not feel the same. And I do think the first episode of season 5 was pretty good. It dealt with the aftermath of all this, but it still didn't quite have the same vibe, just because Rita was such a good character, and I'm pretty sure everyone loved her, so it's just... but it was such a fantastic twist when she died, and I don't think that was bad that she died. I just think what they did with the aftermath of it really left a bad, mark on Dexter. But what makes season 4 episode 12 The Getaway so good exactly? This final episode just set up the perfect tragedy, showing us Trinity's final act and how it was just an ultimate gut punch. It was just everything led to it perfectly in that season to such a good twist. It also shattered Dexter's illusion of what he thought kind of everything was. He believed that he could balance his dark side with his family life, but Rita's death proved otherwise in this episode, because everything was going so well for him at this point. He really thought he could maybe be normal. It really just feels like the later seasons just try to chase the feeling that we had in the original 4. They immediately seem to replace Rita with Lumen, who I didn't hate, but she just didn't feel the same, obviously, because you're just replacing Rita for this girl. But you're just replacing Rita for this girl that we just met and don't necessarily care about. You kind of start to care about her, but as soon as you do, she's just gone like that out of Dexter's life at the end of season 5, which was really interesting. It just seemed like they played it way too safe with that. Now, although season 5 felt like needless filler, season 6 felt like a forced story in general. Just trying to push religion on Dexter, which in my opinion was clearly not ever something Dexter was interested in, because I think he kind of said it throughout the show that he didn't give a shit about religion. Especially in this season, he had a really weird arc where Brian kind of played off as his dark passenger, and that whole little episode arc was just so weird. He kind of went off the walls, and it felt needless. Now, the Doomsday Killer had potential. He was interesting, but it was kind of just wasted with a weak reveal of finding out that he also kind of a similar thing to Dexter, where he was talking to someone who's dead, basically. Although I will admit, some of the killings he did were interesting. They were kind of cool. But once again, I just don't think it could have went the religious route, and I just feel like it seemed forced down our throats like crazy. Oh my god, and please do not even get me started on the Deborah in love with Dexter. That made me want to die.
Right here.
I just saw it in a place. Why was that there? What made the writer think that was a good idea? Ew.
Although I will say the last episode of season 6 is really good, mainly for that ending where Deborah finds out about Dexter being who he really is. That was crazy. Can't lie. It was also crazy good. Can't lie. Now, season 7 honestly had a lot of potential, and it really felt like a step back in the right direction, where we felt like that classic Dexter coming back. But it's just bringing in new characters like Hannah McKay felt a little forced, kind of similar to Lumen. We had a season break from a love interest from Dexter, and then we just bring in another freaking distraught blonde baddie who's just I don't know. It felt really forced, and I wasn't the biggest fan of their relationship, although it seemed to bring out the realness. Is that a word in Dexter? I don't know. Now, like I said, this season did feel pushed in the right direction, especially dealing with Deb knowing Dexter's secret while also being the lieutenant was really interesting, and we had really good villains what was his name? Circo, I believe. Circo. He was really good. It was a shame that he was only a half season villain, but he was really good. I really liked him, actually. And then LaGuerta was basically the other villain of this season, basically learning who Dexter was, unveiling that he was the Bay Harbor Butcher the whole time, which was actually really cool, and I really liked seeing the process behind that. That stuff was pretty good. But unfortunately, it just felt like the season was absolutely tarnished by mainly the first episode of season 8, and just season 8 in general, which was just they immediately threw away Deb's story, and just hating Dexter just really threw me off. I can understand why she hates him, obviously, because she had a LaGuerta. But I don't like the approach that was taken there. And also in this season, they just seemed like they were throwing in new random characters. Like, why did we have to give Masuka a daughter? I don't know. I didn't really get it. We also just completely threw away Angel's entire storyline from season 7 in this season to just bring him back, and now he's Lieutenant. Felt wrong, felt forced. The Brain Surgeon was also just kind of a weak villain, and Fogel being the mother in storyline just didn't really hit with me, didn't resonate, and I didn't really like her as a character in general because it kind of took away what made Dexter and Harry's relationship so special, being him who developed the code, not also Fogel.
And plus, don't even get me started, like, we just see Dexter throw away his entire, like, character arc, basically, by abandoning Harrison.
Which, if you didn't know, was basically his main reason of surviving, it really felt like, in these past few seasons. And then he just abandons him and Hannah, just like it was nothing. Flies off into a hurricane. What a stupid ending. Holy shit. But because of all of this, I truly believe that Season 4, Episode 12, The Getaway, was the day that Dexter died. Let me know if you guys like this video down below. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. There's a lot of news that just happened that I might talk about, so we'll see. Anyways, see you guys.